Hello and welcome to the 2024 UCI Cycling Esports World Championships, powered by MyWhoosh. We are here for the men's semi-finals. You're here with me, Matt Payne, and
Emma Martin.
Emma, it's great to be here. We have just seen an amazing women's race. Now, we're not going to give any spoilers out, just in case you just joined us here today. So, without giving anything away, Emma, any take-homes that we need to let people in on very quickly for the men's race?
Tactics really important, and expect phenomenal Fast and Furious racing.
Okay. And this, of course, is not the first World Championships. There have been previous World Championships in esports. Runners, champions, anybody we should know?
The 2024 Cycling Esports World Championships is the fourth time we've had a World Championships in cycling esports. Back in 2020 was the first. That title was taken by Jason Osborne. Jay Vine took the title in 2022, and Bjorn Andresen from Denmark is the current defending world champion. I say defending because he is on the start sheets today. So is Jason Osborne. So two previous gold medal rainbow band winning riders on the start list today for the semi-final.
So the semi-final is all about making it through to the final. This is a critical thing for all of our riders. They all want to be there. We're going to be using stages that are used in the final. We're going to be seeing which of our riders can progress through. It's a really interesting journey through the qualifiers, making your way in and through, whether you made selection. There's been some fantastic stories. Do follow the riders on social media. One rider who's got a lot of expectation, Jason Osborne, he's been almost omnipresent at World Championships, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did indeed take that first World Championship title, but he has never been off the podium. He finished third in 2022 and second last year. So he's got all three colours in his draw. The question is, can he take a double gold?
And take away the rainbow jersey that is representative. You can see those rainbow bands that are awarded across all of the UCI disciplines. The UCI, the governing body of cycle sport globally, the Union Cyclists International, and they cover everything from indoor cycling to esports to mountain biking to trials, you name it pretty much. Cycle ball. You name it, there.
I can tell you there are a lot of riders on the start list today who want to take those rainbow bands away from Bjorn Andresen. 122 starters today in the men's race, 27 different nations being represented. It's a who's who of cycling esports. Multiple national champions on the start sheets, multiple world champions on the start sheets. This is going to be an amazing semi-final.
And I know, Emma, you and I have been very, very careful to make sure we know exactly what's going on. But I think it's time for you, if you're watching, to find out exactly how our riders are heading for the finals.
On October 26, 2024 UCI Cycling Esports World Championship will kick off in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Up to 24 riders in each gender category will compete in the 2024 UCI Cycling Esports World Championship. The top 20 female and top 20 male riders from the semifinal will race the live final in Abu Dhabi, with the UCI having the option to accept up to 4 wildcard entries. Here's what you need to know about the event before it begins. The 2024 UCI Cycling Esports World Championship consists of 3 phases: qualifications, semifinals, and the finale in Abu Dhabi. Each national federation has allocated riders to compete in the semifinals from their vast pool of riders. Those who were not selected by their national federation or are not part of any federation had 3 chances to qualify for the semifinal through the MyWhoosh Open qualifiers. The MyWhoosh Open qualifiers were completed on August 3rd, 7th, and 10th. Combining the riders who qualified through the MyWhoosh Open qualifiers with those who were nominated by their national federations, up to 150 riders in each gender category will come together to compete in the semi-final on September 6th. For the UCI Cycling Esports World Championship, MyWhoosh launched a brand new format: the Sprint, the Strategist, all out. The events are split into stages, with each race providing opportunities to grab points. The MyWhoosh Open Qualifiers, National Federation Qualifiers, and Semi-Final have featured a mix of these three courses, but the final will include them all, back to back to back. For each gender, the top 20 riders from the semi-final will join up to 4 wildcard entries to compete at the finale of the 2024 UCI Cycling Esports World Championship in Abu Dhabi. Who will claim the championship title? Let's wait and watch.
So in front of our riders, 2 stages out of the 3 available stages here. We used all the stages through the public qualifiers. Our 2 stages here are going to be really, really key. Tactics proving to be absolutely critical. Let's take you through stage number 1 first of all. Let's show you what face our riders immediately. But before we do that, we are going to show you who is going to be battling out rather than where.
Well, Luke Allport, top of the list at the moment. The rider ready to go. Now, 122 riders on these start sheets. As we mentioned at the top of the show, 27 different nations. 11 riders is the largest group of riders from any one nation. Denmark hosting 11 riders. The USA, the UK and Germany hosting 10 riders. 9 riders from Belgium, 7 riders from Australia and South Africa. And those nations with just 1 rider, so Colombia, Uganda and the Philippines, don't discount 1 rider. They are really, really strong.
And the riders will be able to take draft from each other. It's going to be really interesting. Is it going to be advantageous not to have to play the team tactics?
Well, it is going to be really interesting because there's points up for grabs, 7 different opportunities for score points across the 2 stages. And the top 20 on the points leaderboard will go through to the finals in Abu Dhabi.
So let's take you through the where, which is our first course. Now, this is the Strategist course, a really interesting course, a mix of terrain that's really going to test the riders. Where those points are allocated is key as you make your way around this fantastic world here on MyWhoosh in towards the finishing line. Take us through the stats, Emma.
Yes, it is just shy of 9 kilometres in length, this stage, the Strategist, and that is the elevation. The climb coming at 2.1 kilometres into the race. It's 1.5 kilometres of climbing, 129 metres of elevation on that climb, and then the descent down and the rolling run to the finish line. Now, 3 opportunities for points on this course. Points at the base of the climb, the top of the climb, and double points on the finish line. So the top 20 riders through the base of the climb will score 20 points down to 1. At the top of the climb, it's 20 points down to 1. On the finish line, the top 20 riders over that line, 40 points, 38, 36, down to 2. So in with Hammond as the final seconds tick down for the men of the 2024 Cycling Esports World Championship semi-final. The lights go green and away go the riders. The men are off onto stage 1. The Strategist, it's 1 lap of this just shy of 9 kilometre course. The maximum gradient on that hill that they're going to face is 16.2%. But first of all, those points, they're available at the base of the climb.
And this run to the base of the climb, absolutely critical. You saw on your screens how this run through to the line is key. Just over 2K to get there, 2,000 meters, and being in the right position is going to be critical. Everybody wants to get a good foundation. Everybody wants to score points. You can see that pack, they might as well all be, if you were running a handicap race, you try and throw a blanket over everybody at the finish line. I'll tell you something, you could throw a big blanket over these riders, but it would need to be a big one. There's a lot of riders. One of the men are very proud to represent his nation. Luke Allport out of the saddle, kicking down hard here. He's not going to be able to Allport his way clear at the front of the race here, but he is right in the mix here, and a rider who could throw down some really good sprints here to get some points early on as we make our way through, holding 13th position here. We're currently reaching the 1 kilometre marker, just about heading for halfway in And already this pace is blisteringly quick.
This is a phenomenal pace, this start. And take a look at this. It's Denmark, Denmark, Denmark. As Rabin, Justin, Ocken, Nico sitting in there as well. The Polish rider coming up. Knudsen is there as well. As Matheson, the French rider, Miller coming through too. But what a team tactic on the front at the moment.
Dive off the line, drill it to the line, get loads of points for your team. Will they want to lead this out for one particular rider? Is there somebody they think is going to be right up there? Are they going to protect maybe a weaker rider and give them these points? They're starting to get pushed away, though. You can just see Oxen at the moment trying to hold off Ross Fawcett. Good to see Fawcett back in action over 10 watts, 11 watts a kilo now. We're running in towards the start. Krasnitsha moving up through this field. De Weert, one of the younger riders in there. Good to see that we've got Justin Winfield. Now he's got a big old kick on him as well. But this start key, Fawcett going for this from the gun. This is for those points.
Well, Ross Fawcett pushing on here. He wants the points on this first section, and that is the line. Geoffrey Miller, the French rider, just coming up and over the top of Fawcett. It looks like Gouveris and Nikito Paradians in the mix as well in the top 5. That was seriously fast from the gun. And the stretch on that men's pack now, you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen the damage that has done. And interestingly, take a look at this. Ollie Jones now coming to the fore. Phenomenal climber, got a great sprint on him as well, and the rider from New Zealand is already at the front of the pack.
And danger for everybody else. Jones, Vujassin, Pucker, Van Elst, Osborne, Don Knudsen. This is a who's who of climbing. It's a who's who of being able to put the kick in when they need to. They went through. We will see what points they picked up. You can see the riders' stats at the center top of your screen. The radar view to the left-hand side, each disc representing a rider. Right-hand side, you've got the profile, you've got the zone the riders in. And then you have your leaderboard currently being led by Lionel Vujassin, leading this out from Jones. Let's take a look at the sprint checkpoint here, because this is really key. Malheur from Fawcett, Gouveris, Nico, Paradians. They're your top 5. Behind, though, lots of riders picking up good points here.
There are indeed. Jande, Clays, we have in there. We have Branland in there as well as Ritter. Kalman in the top 10 too. So Alexei Kalman picking up points, picking up 11 points in that first sprint effort.
And then when we go into 11th to 20th here, these riders picking up the points. People like Daunt, Alan Jung, Van He, Theme in here, Hammond Gates. You can see them on your screens, but the riders who are coming to the fore on the climb here, not contesting the very front of this, but now battling at the front of the race on the right-hand side of your screen, with Justin Jones, Van Els, Osborne, Puckett, Nuts and Martins, noticeable by their absence in that first sprint, not going for those points.
Jones and Osborne not picking up any points in that first effort. Knudsen neither, or Mackie. Van Els not moving through the field, or Vujassin or De Weert. These are riders I would expect to see up there. Andreasen, the defending champion, back down in 46th through that first points scoring opportunity.
And the leader through there, Geoffrey Miller of France, right-hand side of your screen, dropping to 79th position behind our race leader, Lionel Vujassin, at the front of the race. You then can see that we've got Pucker Van Elst in a chasing duo. We've got Jones and Osborne. They're the pair immediately behind. They've closed in on the wheels, so it looks like we've got one rider, 4 riders, and then a gap back to Knudsen, currently sitting in 6th place, but that is a big gap at this stage. 9 seconds separating the first 6 riders at the moment on this race route. We're coming in to a long left-hand turn. It will take us round. There is a polka dot banner at the top. That is the points marker. That is where we're going to give out those points. At the moment, the push is on. They want those points. They want maximum points. They're breaking the group behind. There's some real damage. There's going to be some screaming legs.
Well, Vujassin, Van Elst, Pucker, Jones, Osborne, Knudsen, Harris, Power, Mayer, Kaminsky, all up the front, but the stretch is on this group at the moment, and it's looking like we've got a small group of what may well be 5 riders potentially going clear up and over the top. It's going to be Van Elst, Jones, Pucker, Vujassin and Osborne who pick up the points. They're going to be the 5 riders. Osborne just needing to squeeze to get back onto the group, but Stefan Van Elst and Ollie Jones side by side at the moment. That's the polka dot banner signifying the climb checkpoint. This is another 20 points for the leader leader going through. Stefan van Elst is going to pick up those points from Jones, from Pucker. Vujasin, a little gap back now. He's with Osborne. Osborne going through. Martin Martins, Bjorn Andresen coming up through the pack on that climb.
So the defending champion staying alert, watching what's happening. He knows that he needs to qualify for the finals like everybody else. There's no let straight through for him. But as we make our way around here, David Talbot from the United States of America in 17th position up onto this plateau at the top of the climb. We then drop off the side. The gradient on that descent also 16.2 at max. Now, the climb checkpoint, as you saw, Van Elst, Jones, Pucker, Vujasin, Osborne, Martins, Andresen, defending champion in 7th, Harris up there, then Mail and Power, all picking up big points. Looking for riders, though, that maybe have scored in both the sprint section to that line to take away the very first points at the base of the climb, and then at the top of the climb, 1 to 10, not looking like there's going to be a real big hitter scoring maximum points in both. So it could be very interesting when we come in towards the finale. 11th to 20th, Emma. Anybody in there that would shock you?
Well, Knudsen, Kaminsky, Paradians, Bormans in there as well. Dvert is there, Fryer, Talbot, Noren, Nair and Jacobs. Well, that's a list of riders that I would expect to see towards the front of this race.
Yeah, I think every single one of those highlighted in the notes in front of us here on both Emma's and mine. Now, big push here from Michael Knudsen in 11th place with Michael Kaminsky. They're really trying to push on at the moment. You can see Andresen, Becker, Knudsen, Rabin and Rosenberg. They're all working, absolutely nailing this, trying to make sure they score maximum points each and every time. It's so difficult to do on this strategist. Go too hard too early, you can be in trouble.
I'll tell you something, the Danish team have had riders in the top 10 every single year at the World Championships, and by the look of this squad, they are aiming for riders in the top 10 again this year.
Well, to get into the top 10, they've got to get in the top 20 here today. At the moment, you can see Michael Knudsen in 11th place with Bjorn Andresen just in front of him in 10th position on the right-hand side. They're chasing this man, though. Hayden Pucker, who's got Ollie Jones for company. He's got Van Els for company. 3 riders clear at the front of the race. 6.3k covered. The next point checkpoint is at the end of the race at 8.9 kilometers. We are rocketing around the course here today. They well and truly have ignited the burners and gone clear. These 3 are looking good at the moment, and that gap at 15 seconds.
I know, and I'm looking at the gap at the moment, and I'm thinking how early this is, because this is the coming into towards the finish of stage 1. We've still got stage 2. We've got 4 opportunities in stage 2 for points, and these riders are still pushing really, really strongly. I know there are class riders behind them, but the gap is 15 seconds. For me, I'd be wanting to think about the fact of holding the gap, not necessarily extending it, because I'd want to keep something for stage 2. But Van Elst is a rider we know is on phenomenal form, and Hayden Pucker, the young rider from the US, has been getting stronger and stronger as this year has progressed. Ollie Jones, the New Zealand rider, well, credit to him, because at the moment in Christchurch, New Zealand, it is, well, what do we say, 6:30 in the morning.
Ouch. Yeah, I always say ouch to the early times in the morning, which is a bit crazy, because we have riders around the world racing here at the semi-finals of the 2024 Cycling Esports World Championships. We're going to be bringing in the riders from all across the globe if they qualify to the finals, to the live finals in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. Will the riders in this chasing group be able to get enough points? They've got to garner enough points now in stage 1 and then add to them in stage 2. It's possible to not score any points in the first stage and still take away what is a potentially qualifying position dependent on where those points fall. So going to be really key here. Vidal Mer, another very strong rider at the moment on the wheel of Michael Kaminsky. They've got Harris in here for company, Andresen, Osborne, Martins. This is going to be very interesting to see how they go through into the finish now. A little bit further back, good to see Mohamed Moutaye really pushing here. 22nd position at the moment. If he can make a little bit of time back, he could move up into those point scoring possibilities. He's got Cantazaro and Viot for company. They're not they're not hanging around either. This could come back together and they could get into those points. They've got to just keep working all the way to the line.
And it is indeed on this line. Double points on the finish line of this course today. So 40 points going to the first rider across the line, and those points going to the top 20 over the line, added to the points scored at the base of the climb and the top of the climb, to give the overall points combined for this stage today. So sitting just outside of that top 20, really, really important if you can start to close those gaps down.
The riders having to work. Now, we are currently in with the chasing group. And I think I'm maybe being kind in the word chasing there, really, because at the moment, when you look at the power that's being put down, I'm not sure that they're going hard enough to close down on the leaders.
Why do you need to? I mean, that would be my question here. Puckett, Jones and Van Elst, they are now 18 seconds down the road. They are absolutely hammering each other. I've seen some really, really steady pace, really smart riding from this chase group. They are in strong positions in terms of getting good points at the end of this race, and they are taking more recovery than the three riders on the front. Well, Hayden Puckett now 100 metres from the finish line. This is the end of stage one and the semi-finals. Puckett going to pick up 40 points through the line. So Hayden Puckett picks up the most points at the end of stage one. Ollie Jones coming through for second place. Stefan Van Elst for third. The sprint is on for fourth place. Joshua Harris, Vidal Mayer, Mikhail Kaminski, Bjorn Andresen all in the mix. So is Michael Knudsen. But, well, it is going to be across the line. Oh, it's a good question. But the riders continuing to go. It was Vidal Mayer that took it from Josh Harris, Mikhail Kaminski, Bjorn Andresen, Michael Knudsen, Martin Martins and Lionel Vujasin rounding out the top 10. Osborne coming through in 11th. Noren in 12th. Great riding from Johan Noren.
Big ride here by Tomaki Tasugi, really pushing on this way in. He's going to score points on this. Those double points absolutely critical in the run for the line here. Every rider needing to take away points to move in if they want to lay a big foundation down. But all these riders know they want to be in touch. Big sprint coming in to the finishing line here. Another big kick coming in. Good to see Aaron Borrell making his way in through that line ahead of Andy Nichols, and Perrin going through Dawson of that island going in underneath the line behind. You see our Canadian, that is Jean-Michel Lachance going underneath the gantry here. Frantic race, lots of points being scored, 3 points opportunities. Let's take a little bit of a look at where that leaves us at the end of stage number one.
Well, all of the points for stage one added together, and these are your overall standings. Hayden Puckett from the USA currently topping the leaderboard with 58 points, 1 point clear of New Zealand's Ollie Jones. Stefan Van Elst, look at that, 1 point back with 56. Vidal Mayer coming through with 46. Joshua Harris, Bjorn Andresen, Mikhail Kaminski, Martin Martins, Lionel Vujasin and Jasper Paradians rounding out the top 10.
Those top riders in groups together there coming through. Michael Knudsen in 11th from Jason Osborne in 12th. Identical points, 36 points. Then we've got those 20s, those low 20-point scorers. Bormans, Noren and Power, 23, then 21 points. Then we're into the teens. Fryet, De Weet, 17 and 14 points respectively. 2 riders on 8 points. Zach Nair, 10th place last year in the World Championships. He's immediately in front of David Talbot, who's on the same points, currently in 19th position. Ruben Dont on a really good point score. He's got 3 points in the bank. Nice to get those in the bank early. Will he be able to make those count? We will have to see when we move from stage one to stage two. Really, really great racing there. And that group going away over the top, they didn't hesitate there. Let's see what that translates to when we move on from stage number one. Wow. So, Emma, wow. I'm going to take a deep breath here. I'm sure our riders are doing exactly the same.
I think we need to lower our heart rate in the commentary box, not just lower your heart rate between 2 races for our riders.
I'm absolutely loving it, as I love all sorts of bike racing, as anybody who follows me on social media will know. Right, let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into our overall standings. 3 riders in the top 50s, 3 riders in the 40s, and then we've got a whole raft of riders in the 30 plus. 39, 3 riders. And I think it's 3 riders, 1 rider on 38, 2 on 36. I mean, that is really mid-pack. What the riders have done here is really, really key. And all the big names really waiting until that initial flurry had gone.
Yeah, and
then diving in.
And what we've got here is we've got that breakaway group of 3 picking up the big points at the end. We've then got the chasing group, and you can see that because look at the points. They are so close. Kaminsky, Martins, Vujasin, all on the same point score at the moment at the end of stage 1. And then what we've got a little bit further down is those who didn't make those first 2 groups fighting for those points and those positions. And that, I think, is representative because we see the jump from 36 points at Jason Osborne, who's currently lying in 12th place behind Knudsen, also on 36 points. And then we see a 13-point gap back. And that's because those riders were not in those leading 2 groups.
And those groups that formed early on, the way the race developed there, we saw the sprint in pretty much, it was a 2K or flat out sprint from the word go pretty much all the way to the line. It was just like the end of almost a tour stage. The way the riders lined it out coming in. I mean, we saw almost a sprint lead out from Denmark there, coming in as a train, really nailing it on the way in. But then we hit the climb, and then we saw the protagonist, like you would see in a Grand Tourway, where all of a sudden it goes uphill and the sprinters are in the gruppetto at the back going, out, my legs hurt, and the guys at the front, they're opening it up and really setting down the marker.
Andreasen, the reigning defending champion, was 47th through the first sprint segment, and then we saw him come right up to the 4 at the top of the climb and move through, to make sure that he's finishing in that 6th position at the moment at the end of stage 1 because he wants that qualification. But, don't discount, we've got Freit and Nikito in 19th and 20th place. Talbot and Dont at the moment. But we are seeing more and more riders with more and more points coming through. And it's really interesting, I think, going into the next stage.
And as we move through from this stage into the next, what the riders do in between going to be really critical. We see Ollie Jones here from New Zealand in that New Zealand skin suit there, just making sure he keeps those legs spinning down. Good to see Ollie. No blue cap on in real life. It's his trademark when he's racing on esports. And at the moment, I'm sure the little blue cap is hidden away somewhere, but looking pretty smooth at the moment and spinning his legs out. The removal of the lactic acid without dropping temperature too much.
And he's another one of those really smart riders who didn't play the game on that all-out sprint at the start. He followed the pack, he sat in the pack, and he waited, and then he launched his attack after they'd gone through that green banner, signifying that first point score. All of his points came in those last 2 points scoring opportunities, not the first.
And then when we look at these numbers there, I mean, they're big numbers. They're averaged across the stage there. It's what we've come to expect from the stars of esports, putting in big power numbers, being able to repeat big pushes and then recover and push again. A bit akin to somebody who's doing a track meet, who's got lots of sprints in, maybe a cyclocross race where you're doing a push and a rest and a push and a rest. But the numbers are huge. They are massive because the riders really have specialised. And that's one of the things we've seen from the very first of the World Championships to now. And we're seeing riders who, whilst they're great riders in many things and could be at many different disciplines, they are really specialised. And that's resulting in bigger power.
And we're seeing riders who transition from triathlon, mountain bike or road and try and mix those events also with cycling esports. But we are seeing the rise of the professional cycling esports rider and racer who focuses very much on bespoke training. Stefan van Elst has been putting in some phenomenal race performances recently, and you can see, if you follow him week in, week out, him just getting stronger and stronger and peaking for this event to ensure he books his ticket on that plane to Abu Dhabi.
And a rider who you wouldn't bet against, a very smart rider, a rider who has been improving all the way through the Sunday Race Club, for example. It's a great way of keeping a check on a rider's form almost, because every single Sunday there's a race. You can see the riders coming into form and dropping out of form and putting in those performances and collecting those big prizes that allow them to be professional riders. And that really is translated. Interesting here, Vidal Mayer just jumping off the bike here. So just going to do a little adjust of the camera, the heart rate, really interesting. You get a really good close-up of the heart rate.
You do actually there, didn't
and
you?
that's a heart rate monitor. So that is, if you're wondering how we know exactly how many beats a heart rate is, I know lots of people are actually going to be absolute addicts, will absorb every episode of the Virtual Velo podcast and everything else that's out there, and every single bit of data possible. There are going to be people who are new to this. The chest strap there is the heart rate monitor. It measures the rider's data. And
very personal as well.
It is, and it then translates. So we know that Vidal Mer, 168 beats per minute was his average on the way through. And that's part of that verification process that occurs for all the riders. So all the riders' performances are checked before, during, and after. It's a really intricate set of data that's on there. And really interesting hearing the team from MyWhoosh talking about that, and the team verifying the equipment as well. It's really, really critical to get those results accurate.
Yeah, and the data that each of these riders provide now, is so specialist and so specific that the verification process behind the scenes can tell if another rider jumps on the same setup and starts to ride the bike.
And it's a bit like, I mean, it's almost like a fingerprint, isn't it now, because of how we're able to assess how these riders are. Now, Josh Harris, somebody I know you've spoken to before now, a rider who's in the top 5 here. If you're in Josh Harris's place at the moment, you've scored 45 points, so it's a good base. There's a lot of points still up for grabs here. Josh in a good position, though.
He is in a really strong position and riding really well. A good, solid start, I think, is the way I'm going to describe that, because we've got a lot of riders around that marker. Harris in 5th position at the moment overall and 45 points. If I go 10 points back, I'm dropping to 13th. So that's how close that points score is at the moment at the end of stage 1. Everything is to play for on stage 2, and the tactics that these riders execute next are going to be absolutely crucial to get them to that final.
So come out of stage 1, get rid of the lactic acid, take on board more fuel, take on board plenty of hydration. You don't want to lose any of that. Make sure that all the kits are still working. If you've had any niggles with the kit or with you need to make sure you get it sorted really quick, ready for stage 2. Stage 2 is going to be about putting the power down again. It's a really, really key stage. It's the final stage when we go into our finals in Abu Dhabi. We're going to use all 3 stages, and you can see the riders spinning the legs out here. Would you say, just notice who's jumped up on screen here, a 9th place for Lionel Justin? It's kind of, for me, was in some ways favourite. He was one of my top 3 today, if I have to be brutally honest.
The race is not over yet.
He's in 9th place. He's still got plenty of time, don't get me wrong, and it is really close. But would you have expected to see him maybe just dominating from the word go? Because in the public qualifiers and in all the practice races and all the every race he goes on these courses, he's been so dominant.
Let's put it this way. We talked, no spoilers for the women's race, but we did talk a little bit about this in the women's race. There's 2 strategies really, isn't there? Go out and show the opposition that you are absolutely dominant and someone to be feared, or go out and actually do the job that you are here to do today. And that is to qualify and to get into the top 20 and secure your ticket to the finals. The finals are not until the end of October. You qualify today, you hit peak form at the end of October.
That's assuming you can't do the peak twice between now and the finish. Be really interesting. I can't wait to see what our riders put out. Do give them a follow. Jump on social media. Follow Morris Ritter here from Germany as he goes in and through. Now he's in 25th place here, 12 points in the bag. But will he be able to make this count when he goes up into the next stage? Good seeing there. For anybody that doesn't know and hasn't seen us on any of the previous races, you will know that off camera I just wave back.
Please don't on camera.
I'm trying to avoid doing it on camera.
Let me just talk, because actually Ritter is in 25th overall at the moment, and we've got a number of riders really, really close. 21st place, 15 points, Jande. De Vert is in 22nd place with 14 points, the same points as his countryman Walter Clays. Branneland from Sweden is on 13 points. Ritter is on 12 points. Kalman is on 11. Matheson from Denmark is on 10. This is so close behind. Any of these riders with a really good positioning on stage 2, and I think positioning is absolutely key, because at some point those brakes will go. If you are on the right side of those brakes, if you're currently sitting between 20th and 30th position, if you get in the right brake, you're going to pick up the points.
And there's going to be riders that are going to set the tempo. They're going to go out and they're really going to push here. And they're going to be the riders who are going to maybe be at the front of the group setting that tempo. And riders behind able to follow them are going to benefit, aren't they? That's going to be really, really key. Now, let's take a look. I mean, a rider that's right down in the mix here, I think 23rd at the moment. He's 3 points off hitting the key spot, 20. Top 20, doesn't matter really where you are in some ways in that top 20, although I would argue if I was racing this, I would want to be setting a marker down and saying, don't bother turning up to the final, everybody else. I'm going to come our way and win this. Not that that's ever going to happen, but it'd be really interesting. What's Clays? He's right in the battle. He's right in the mix.
He is.
You know, and he's an experienced esports rider. He knows how to ride this platform. He knows how to ride esports. He knows how to race. He's going to be, I'll be really interested to see how he goes and where he goes when we go into stage 2.
Yeah, and that is it, I think, for all of these riders. It's where you go, what your tactics are in this second stage, and how well you execute them. Because, you know, there's one thing going with the leading group, but, you know, you don't want to blow up. You've got to ride within yourself, but you've got to ride smart and you've got to push. You know, sometimes you have a little bit more in the bank than you thought.
Well, let's see if that's going to be the case for the riders. I'm not sure everybody's going to be able to write checks that their body is going to be able to pay for here. I think there could be a few people who are going home going, yeah, it didn't happen today. And there's going to be people who go home with, oh, that was amazing. I did better than I thought I was. And hopefully it's going to inspire a whole lot of people to jump on the bike and ride and come and join in the racing, and maybe we'll see them in future championships. There's a real mix of ages who qualified as well, which was really good to see, and lots of different backgrounds, lots of different nations in there. And for me, one of the things I would love to see come out of the World Championships this year is that we've got riders around the globe jumping on. Now, really interesting, David Talbot there with an ice vest, basically. So this is to cool down. It's just to drop that temperature down, bring the body temperature down. I'd be really interested to know what the temperature of the room is around him in his environment. He's had to get a vest to bring that temperature down. Really interesting tactic there.
Well, I can guarantee it's warmer than most places in Europe at the moment. And maybe Australia and New Zealand, because they are in the middle of the night at the moment where our riders are racing. So Talbot, rider from the US, ready and looking good and strong to go for the second stage of this UCI 2024 Cycling Esports World Championship semi-final.
So the riders are getting ready for stage 2. We are going to head over there very shortly indeed. The riders making sure that they are all prepped and ready. So if you want to go grab yourself some popcorn, maybe you want to get yourself a drink ready to hydrate, to jump on board. Now, Emma, if somebody's new to this and they're watching this for the first time, they're thinking, oh, I really want to have a go. What's the best way to jump in here? I mean, you and I know, have both been riding on esports since, I think it was 2015 for me.
16.
It's a long time ago. I've probably given away how long we've been riding on esports. There are new riders out there. If you're jumping on for the first time and you maybe want to take part in some racing or some training, what's the best thing to do?
Oh, head over to MyWhoosh.com, download the app, and jump on board. You know, there are many different worlds out there that you can just ride and explore and get used to riding esports. You know, lots of different things for you to do on there. There are training programs. There are over 700 of training programs. Those workouts, those training programs, absolutely phenomenal. There are events. You can grab a few friends and do a team time trial during the week, or you can race yourself. Hayden Pucker, well, he is currently looking at #1 spot at the moment, Matt.
Indeed, you could come and race against Hayden Pucker, or you could jump on and ride against many of these riders. Now, Hayden Pucker, he really has progressed really well on the regular Sunday race club that's on MyWhoosh. He's a rider, though, that we see performing time and time again. He's being coached. Now, that coaching provides that little bit extra, but you can also get some great advice from community as well.
Well, and interestingly, let's just go back to his coach, because his coach is actually in this race. So Hayden Pucker, coached by Zach Nair. Zach Nair also on that USA squad in this race. And Pucker, you know, when he joined the Sunday Race Club a couple of months ago, was a strong rider, was in contention, but struggled to break into that top 5. He was finishing top 10 and putting in some really great performances and some really strong rides. And then more recently, we have seen this spark from him, and obviously that training come together, that attitude come together. All of a sudden he got a 5th place. Then all of a sudden he really was at the front end of the race and really thinking, I can do this. And you know what? He's obviously got that really strong mental attitude because he really thinks he can do this today. And there he is. He's right at the top. And that's his coach, Zach Nair.
It is indeed his coach, Zach Nair. Good to see Zach. Now, Zach, a regular rider in the races, regular rider on the World Championship scene, a man who is data-driven. So Emma really, really loves watching all the power profiles. I mean, Zach actually makes...
Zach outdates me any day.
Well, that's... well, everybody outdates me. That's not difficult. It has to be said. But really interesting. I'm really going to be interested to see what Zach has to say about the performances. I mean, you know, has the apprentice become the master? I mean, he's number 1 and the coach is now sitting behind him. So let's see how those riders go in to the next stage. Don't forget, of course, if you are jumping on, there's lots of great community on board. One of the great things about esports is it unites people around the globe and brings them together in one platform. So wherever you are in the world, please do jump on board. We'd love to see you. We'd love to go for a ride with you on esports down on one of the many worlds that are available. So please do jump on board. Now, it's time for our riders to jump back on the bikes. It's time for us to get ready for the next stage. This is going to be stage 2 of the semi-finals here in the men's competition of the 2024 Cycling Esports World Championships on MyWhoosh. So let's head into stage number 2. Emma, this is going to be an absolute blast.
Oh, I am really looking forward to this. This stage is titled All Out, and it is indeed going to be all out.
Well, let's have a little look at the course. It's a short course, it's a fast course, it's a bumpy course, and it's been designed with a hill at the finish. My least favourite way to race anything ever.com, but it is indeed a real nasty kicker at the end.
It's been designed to test our riders. The course today, a 4-kilometre lap. We do it 4 times, and you can see the profile of each lap in front of you. We come down out the start pens and then a gradual climb to the kicker in the middle. We then drop down, but it's a rolling drop to that 3.5-kilometre mark with a 500-metre climb to the finish. It's got an average gradient of 7.8%, but a maximum gradient of 12. 4 laps. 4 times to pick up points. The top 20 first across the line, as we have done in stage 1. The end of lap 1, 20 points down to 1. The end of lap 2, 20 points down to 1. The end of lap 3, 20 points down to 1. All change at the end of lap 4 because that's where the double points come in. 40 points, 38, 36, down to 2. I predict split groups on the road.
And it could well split on the very first descent. You can see from that downhill start, we have a long drag. And then that kicker that comes in just before the halfway point has been enough in previous races, in the public qualifiers, in a lot of the practice races, to split races apart. And if it splits on lap 1, it's going to be carnage by lap 4. I can't wait to see what's going to happen to our riders. Let's dive in and across from the course profile here. This is going to be an absolute blast. The riders lined up, ready to go. This is stage 2 of the men's competition, the semi-finals, UCI 2024 Cycling Esports World Championships, powered by MyWhoosh. We are off and away from the start line. A downhill start, a quick pickup of pace, and we are going to see who is going to take away maximum points. Which 20 riders are going to qualify to go to the Worlds live in Abu Dhabi at the end of October?
Well, it's Oliver Simmons who we're in with at the moment, right on the wheel of Nair. Krasnic is there as well. In fact, take a look at the Belgium squad on the screen at the moment. It's Claes, Dont, Power, Simmons and Van He. All of them absolutely in the mix here. Simmons we are with on the screen, currently towards the front of the group, and there's a bit of a push at the moment coming from what looks like a GB rider on the front of the screen there. No, it's Trojanowski, Marcin Trojanowski from Poland. Well, he's digging deep on the front.
Yeah, going over the top, that was GB rider Kevin Horsley. Good spot there by attacking hard there, but starting to get washed away. Everybody wants to go through to be in position. They know how critical maintaining pace into this climb is going to be. There's a little roll down, and then there's a steep kicker. Now, the kick going from Trojanowski, known for his aggressive riding and racing. He's a real aggressive rider. We know he's capable of pushing it hard enough to take this away. Can he do so? This is a big kick behind. You can see real mix in here. Good to see Ivan Nuki up there. This could be a really good tactic from him. Push hard now and keep right up in contention.
Well, he's a strong climber, is Nuki, the rider from Uganda. But the real mix of riders in here and the dominance of those Danish riders that we saw early in stage one, well, they are coming to the fore on the right-hand side, but they are not leading this out like last time.
As we jump in with Reinhard Geiser just stuck on the right-hand side of the pack. You can see from wall to wall, from gutter to gutter, the riders on this ascent. This is a little kicker in the minute, and at the moment, they've not shed riders out the back. This group has not broken. If they thought they could break it on this climb, they need to put more effort into getting over the top of it because they've not split them. Everybody answering the call as they come over the top. Very interesting to watch whether we get a single rider detached. This is going to be brutal when we come in then towards the end of the lap, surely.
Well, it is starting to stretch slightly on the group, and you can tell on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. But the riders absolutely at the front and positioning themselves well. So Pucker in third place at the moment. Fawcett is there as well. So is Wilson. Chris Dawson, currently in 23rd place. He rode the World XCO Mountain Bike Championships in Andorra last weekend.
I know, I watched him out the commentary box as I was commentating on that race and watched him go around and thought, I see you in such strange places, from one place to another. But you know what? Transferring that kick is really, really key. One man who we've seen race regularly, Ivan Nuki, here in the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. He's a coach. He's a mentor. I'm sure he's an inspiration for so many riders out there. And somebody who... I'd be quite happy to have as my coach, I'll be honest. He'd definitely make me go quicker. Super, super strong rider. And at the moment, right in the mix here. This is going to be really key. Staying in on this descent down into the climb to be able to do something about it at the front of the race. So it looks like Josiah Betty has got that gap opened up here. We've been seeing one or two riders trying to pin clear. They will get a bit of sliding room here, but I'm not sure this isn't just a big, big burn of energy you don't need.
It's only a 500-metre climb at the end of this lap, and trying to get a bit of sliding room is going to help you. But that pack behind really now are coming because Corrigan is racing. And look at the Danish squad. The Danish squad now coming to the fore. Pucker sitting on their wheel because, well, where the Danes are is at the front at the moment. They are pushing on as a squad, and really interesting to see them riding it almost as a team.
Now, Josiah Betty from Brazil, the rider on your screens on the left-hand side, the rider in the green on the right-hand side. On this section, it's still descending down into towards the climb. It levels a little now, and then it's going to kick. And when it kicks quick. This left-hand turn leads us into the climb. The front of the pack sweeping around that turn. Onto the climb they come. Will we see anybody distance? The first points are going to be up for grabs. The gantry at the finishing line, the start line, it's our points position. This is going to be critical. Remember, 20 slots on the road. The first 20 riders taking away points. At the moment, it could be any one of this pack.
Well, the pack's still together, but the stretch is now really on as the front of the pack go round the corner. The back not yet. The gap's starting to open. Corrigan, Nichols, Darn, Yeast, Borrell, all on the wrong side of the gap. As we head up the hill, Dawson is there, Jones is there, Osborne, Paradines, Thrall and Vuyasin. Lionel Vuyasin is going to take the first lap. He's going to take 20 points.
Vajasin, Thrall, Paradines, Kalman, along with Van Elst, Jones, Mayer and Osborne up at the front of this group. Will we see a push? Will we see a little attack here just to try and break it up again? Riders have been right on the limit on the climb. They've been working to try and stay with the group, and you can see the damage that has been done as we come up this climb. Interesting to see riders spread across this climb and out on course as the lead is already descending off the other side. With Justin taking away maximum points from Thrall, from Paradise, Jones, Van Elsen, Kalman, with Mayer, Osborne, Brandland, and Hammond in there. Interesting to see Brandland moving up, taking away 12 points there. The top 10 riders scoring those initial points as they went through, behind some interesting names in here.
Well, there are, because Guveris is there, so is Andreessen. Goodness is too, so is Ross Fawcett. Great first lap there. Hayden Pucker finishing in 15th at the moment at the end of lap 1. The French rider Milieu, Chris Dawson, the Irish rider, in there in 17th. Seb Dvert, the Belgian rider, in 18th. Nikito and Koinstinen rounding out the top 20. Interesting, in 21st place, Michael Knudsen, who did so well in the last stage.
Okay, so riders right up there. Puckett adding to his points total, getting 6 points there on that run for the line. Very interesting to see that Miller, the rider who took the very first set of points as we came in on stage 1, in the mix as well. And right in this group, moving up into 7th place at the moment. Van Elst in there, looks like Fawcett nicely tucked in, keeping out of the draft, getting some recuperation done before this quick kick. It comes really, really, really quick. You've got this kick, you've got this break. The leading group is starting to be formed. It's still a big pack. It's not a breakaway group. Effectively, I would describe this as the peloton has shed groups of riders rather than we've got a breakaway group at the front because of the sheer volume of riders
huge.
here.
It's really, really big, and these riders have really got to pay attention, because if this group starts to break, it can be very easy to be on the wrong side of it. You want to do enough work to stay attentive, but you don't want to do too much work that you waste energy.
Any gaps, any opening here, and the riders are going to try and exploit it, aren't they? You can't afford to let this go. Leading group over the top. You can see that gap starting to open. Group 2 is behind. They're just coming up towards the top of that section. Group 3, they're even further back and splitting even more. We're going to have a bit of a count up here. It's very difficult. It's just such a volume of riders in here. Just checking the names as we go through these. And at the moment in this group, I'm struggling to see any of the key protagonists missing at the moment from this, because it is a big group here.
It's a huge group, over 20 riders, probably nearer 30, I would say, in this leading group at the moment, and a great gap now established back to that second group on the road. But this is huge. I thought potentially by this time we'd have seen a smaller group go away, but well, we've got a couple of riders pushing on, and it's Jakobs on the front on the road with Takasugi from Japan.
Nice move here, going clear at 6.5k on the run down, using the changes in rhythm, in pace as you go over the top of this descent. When we talk about being technical, it's not because you can run off the road. It's because you've got to be able to match the variation in cadence, that rhythm, have that suplex, be able to go up and down that rev range to answer it. That is really, really key. Now, just taking a look here at the some of the GB squad. We've got Niall Batty in here. We've got Ross Fawcett, Kevin Horsley, Ewan Mackey, and Andrew Nichols. Nichols should be a man who can climb these hills in his sleep. He's really good when it goes uphill. Will he be able to put the power down? Mackey there looking very, very cool indeed. Second from the right-hand side. Batty, when it goes uphill, that's his territory. And good qualifying by him to get through as well. Good to see the support there with Ross Fawcett as well. Another of our regular
Fawcett
riders
putting in
there.
a really strong ride at the moment from GB. Currently overall at the moment, I take a little look, he's lying in 19th overall.
So coming into the climb, he's going to need to move up 7 seconds, the gap between our two leaders, Jakobs and Takasugi. Can they hold that? 9 seconds as they came into the line. Look at the face here of Tomoki Takasugi. He's giving it absolutely everything. This could be a big point scoring opportunity for him. Will this be enough to get him through to the finals? This is a great option to take on a little bit of sliding room coming in, and they're making this count. We're at 7.7k. It's going to be 7.8, 200 meters to go. Takasugi needs to push here. Jakobs is coming as well. These points are going to be critical. Big move. Keep pushing, guys. This is the run. This is 4 points. This is the second point scoring opportunity. Here come the pack. They're coming behind. Well, they're behind him. Has he got enough to stay clear? They're coming up on his wheel. Is he going to get swamped? He's still going to score points. How is it going to be?
Well, absolutely phenomenal riding by the rider from Japan. Currently 36th overall with 2 points. What a phenomenal effort to pick up points on that lap. Just getting swamped, but picking up points along the way. A phenomenal effort seen there. He's going to come through, I think, she says, I'm doing a really quick scroll down, in 12th.
12th position for Takasugi, but you can see Bjorn Andreasson scoring maximum points, the defending champion, starting to make his moves here. Borman's Paradins, Power of Just in the top 5. Pucker, Van Elst, Jones, Thrall and Brandland from 6 to 10. Harris, Takasugi, Hammond, Mayer and Knudsen, 11th to 15th, with Don DeVitt, Fred, Osborne and Nico going through 16th to 20th. Yeah. 20th place, scoring 1 point, but every point is critical.
Just missing out on the points that lap. Martin Martins in 21st, Zach Nair in 22nd, Ross Fawcett in 23rd, Mikhail Kaminsky in 25th. On the wrong side of those points, these riders now really starting to think and focus, because we've got 2 laps left.
2 laps left at the end of lap 3 of 4. We have those same 20 points down to 1. We have, of course, double points on the very last run in and through to the line. Going to be really critical what the riders do. 9k covered for Matthias Van Heet in here with Ewan Mackey sat immediately behind him. They're coming up on the back of this group. He's going to make contact, I think, with Todd Allen Young here.
27 riders in that leading group. This small group here now trying to push on. Van Heet really towing the group. Barry coming across, closing the gap. This group going to join that big group at the front. So we're now going to see 34 riders in the leading group as we go into lap 3.
And the riders behind are in 1s and 2s. It is possible for more riders to make the junction here. Big kick coming here from Mohamed Matai from the base of this little kicker midway through to the top. He's got to use this distance. He's got to push here. Tatu Koistonen behind him. Benedetti also with him. Looks like they're going to come up. Ritter in the mix here. This kick critical. They're going to make contact. They then need to push through over the top. It's going to swell the ranks of the riders in the leading group here. It broke. It came apart. The wheels fell off. Well, they put them back on at lightning speed at the moment because they're going to make contact. I think it's going to be too much so for Kalman. Alexei Kalman, John Brun, Josh Wilson off the back of this leading pack. And with 40 riders in the leading group, 40 riders in that leading group. That is a massive pack to take into the next part of this stage.
It's a huge pack, and at some point this is going to break and shatter because no one who wants to qualify is going to want to take 39 other riders with them. Chris Dawson from Ireland closing the gap down, Scott Canzaro moving in, so's Moritz Ritter. These riders now all coming to the back. Kalman and Brun, the riders who have missed the group. 12 seconds back now, 40 riders clear.
And an attack going off the front now. 2 riders starting to break clear. We're on that descent, trying to break on this descent, trying to use something a little bit different to open up the gap. Ritter at the back of this group. Well, it's a long way to the front. Those 2 riders just starting to open a little bit more distance. We're going to see if they get away. Can they get the distance coming in? They're round the corner. The phrase in cycling is out of sight, out of mind, but you're going to have to go a long way on this course on the run into the climb to get clear. This is going to be really, really key. Now, just diving in with the French team here. Gombert, Hamon, Jeanade, Milo, and Vio. The 5 riders on your screen. As you can see, it's got dark in France. It's dark outside our studios. And at the moment, these riders doing a great job of staying in touch, working hard. Anyone in this leading group here is the place to be. It is where you need to be on the run into this climb. And I think this is going to be critical. Are we going to see the race split on this climb? If you were, as you said, Emma, the lead riders who are likely to take away victory, likely to be in contention, you're not going to leave this. The group in front are all over the place.
They are indeed, and no, I wouldn't want to leave this. This is for the point of attack now, because there's one more lap to go, and Chris Dawson has come from catching the group to going up and over the top, because it's Johan Noren and James Barnes, the rider from South Africa, who are down the road, and that is a dangerous group. Noren and Barnes, great riders, great racers. They are now 11 seconds clear. How did this happen? Who let this go? Well, Chris Dawson has come from the back of the group, right the way through the group and into the chase. Stefan van Elst now coming to the fore at the front of the climb with Pucker and Don and Vu Yassin. They are now paying attention, but they haven't paid attention because Barnes and Noren are clear.
Well, we saw those two riders open the gap. They started to eke out a little bit of distance. They started to break away. They've continued to push, and that is dangerous. Barnes and Noren, both great climbers. Van Elst with Justin Jones, Paradine starting to come. Dawson tried to bridge across and to make contact. He's been swept up. Are these two going to stay clear to take away some good points here today? 20 points down to 1 up for grabs. Barnes on his way in. Noren is with him. They're sprinting for that single point difference between first and second place, and behind there is some serious damage being done. The riders are really working hard here.
Let me just give you this. Noren's currently lying in 23rd overall, Barnes in 50th, but if they can get away and stay away, there's 60 points on offer still.
But the way that group closed them down, I don't think they can do that again. That's a one-hit wonder, surely. Noren and Barnes taking first and second. The pace that the group was coming behind, surely they're not going to be able to then re-break and go
Well, I can
clear.
tell you, that move has just taken Noren up from 23rd into 15th.
Great move. He's now got to make it stick. You can see the results on your screen now. 11th to 20th coming up. Branlin, Pucker, Mayer, Dont and Knudsen, 11th to 15th. But look at this. We've got Bormans, Zach Nair, Josh Harris, Michael Kaminsky, Jason Osborne, all scoring single digits here. 4, 3, 2, 1 points for Nair, Harris, Kaminsky and Osborne.
I tell you something, I think our viewers, I don't know whether anybody thought this was going to be as competitive as it is. We've seen dominance of riders, and Jason Osborne has been one of those riders who's been absolutely dominant, never been off the podium in a World Championships. Phenomenal form at the moment, but this is a very different type of race. This is such an interesting style of racing, this points racing. It really is making this wide open.
It is indeed. Had this been a set of really big climbs, and the former World Tour rider could be the man. Another move going off the front, though. Just seeing another move being put down. It's Ollie Jones who's gone on the attack here. He's got the gap, and behind him, I think that was Hayden Pucker who's opened up the gap, trying to come back in across to him. This is the run into the steep section, the mid-lap climb. So Jones in 1. Pucker in 2, Noren in 3, Barnes in 4. They were pulled back. They've managed to keep a little bit of momentum moving there. However, you can see Jones and Pucker are the fresher legs here at the moment. They've opened up the gap, and they're going to now need to push over the top. This could move them up.
They sat back for lap 3 and just picked up the points from the pack. Now this is lap 4, double points on offer, and Pucker and Jones are pushing.
So whereabouts are Pucker and Jones? Do you know, Emma, where they are in the race at the moment for when we come into the finale? We remember it's with 2.3k.
Well, I can tell you, Ollie Jones currently sat in first place at the moment, at the top of the overall points table. Hayden Pucker sat in 5th place, but it is so close behind.
So do they really need to push this hard? If they were at the back of that group,
but take a look at the size of the group. You could miss out on points completely, and that is just too risky. Better to go feel strong and go off the front and try and take the win than to lose it overall because you didn't.
So here we go. The pursuit is on behind Jones and Pucker. Barnes and Noren holding the front of the chase. They've got to try and get back. I think for me, this is going to be a real classic pursuit. You got the two leaders. They're diving on down at the moment. You can see the push coming from behind. People want to get sliding room. They want to get the gap.
Well, I'll
they
tell
want
you who
those
that
points.
is. That's James Barnes.
He's
Barnes
doing a
has
great
gone
job
down the road.
again.
He's not yet in the top 20 overall. This is his final chance. It is all in now on this final race section because Barnes needs these double points if he's going to qualify.
So big push coming from behind. These riders needing to get points, scoring points on the way in. Remember, top 20 riders will score double points at the finish on the way through. Matawi here with Barry, with Mackie, with Nico, with Fawcett in great company here, with Jacobs just down the road. They've got to keep on squeezing. Meanwhile, front of the race, with two riders clear. Make that two riders being followed by two. And look at this. Norrin and Barnes are on a mission to get points, to get a little bit of longer run. It's a tactic that lets you basically extend the hill, doesn't it? Because you attack hard into it.
Well, and all I can say is James Barnes might have left this till the last minute, but boy, is he absolutely fighting for this. He is fighting for his place at the World Championships final in Abu Dhabi later on this year. Norrin and Barnes fighting hard. Jones and Puckett down the road. Ruben Dont riding a storming final lap as well as Arnie Jacobs. These riders are not in the top 10 at the moment. They are fighting for a qualification place.
And a move by Don, 8 seconds clear of the chasing group, 4 seconds ahead of Norrin and Barnes. He could push on here. This is a skill he's used before. He's attacked into the climbs. He's got a long way to go to get up to Jones and Pucker. But look at this. They're coming behind him. They're on the way.
They are indeed, and Pucker and Jones working hard, but Barnes is coming. He's 3 seconds back. Norrin is 4. Dont is on his way. The chase behind is on, but they're coming into the final 200 metres.
Here we go. This is the run for the line. You've got Pucker, you've got Jones. They've dropped Barnes, they've dropped Norrin. They are behind. Dont is trying to come. He's being swept up by the pack. Pucker is attacking his way clear of Jones at the moment. Can Jones answer him? Hayden Puckett, he's having a fantastic run out for the United States at the moment. He's ahead of Jones. Jones is trying to answer him, but it's going to be Hayden Puckett who takes away maximum points on stage 2 of our semi-finals here at the Cycling Esports World Championships. He goes over the line in the lead. Behind him, Jones takes away a second place, but look at the speed with which those riders closed in. Nair up there, looks like Andreasen in the mix. Bit further down, people like Osborne, like Vujasin, they're going to have been doing some serious maths. If they eased off there, this could be incredibly close. Will we see any of the big names, any of the big favourites taken out? Remember, 20 riders to go through. Michael Knudsen, a man expected by many to be right up in the mix. He's going to hit the line in 28th place. He's not going to score points in this last run for the line. Ruben Dont putting in a phenomenal performance as these riders continue to go through to the finishing line. Great racing, amazing battle into the line. It came down to the last sprint. Let's see who is in. Which 20 riders are going to be heading over to the World Championships? So the wait is on. Here are your top 10. Ollie Jones taking away victory, 10 points clear of Hayden Puckett, who scored big on the last lap. Stefan Van Elst in 3rd. Bjorn Andreasen, defending champion, in 4th. One of the hot favourites for Jasin in 5th. Paradians in 6th. Mayer in 7th. Power in 8th. Borman in 9th. And Friat in 10th. Look at the predominance of those Belgian flags in there. We have got 4 riders from Belgium into the top 10. That was some ride by them. Now the critical points here. Critical places.
Well, Joshua Harris in 11th with 70 points. Johan Norrin storming final 2 laps to take him up to 12th from 23rd place. Branlin in 13th. The young rider Seb Vert in 14th. Mikhail Kaminski in 15th. Jason Osborne in 16th. James Barnes taking himself up from 50th to 17th in those last 2 laps. Michael Knudsen hanging on for 18th. Thomas Thrall for 19th. And Martin Martins rounding out the top 20. Zach Nair, 21st place.
So Zach Nair not going to make those finals. Amazing riding by the riders up there. So we have got Harris down to Martins. You can see those riders in 11th to 20th on your screen. What a ride. That was amazing, Emma. I mean, it came down to the end. A brilliant ride by Barnes, brilliant ride by Norrin. Dawson was pushing all the way into the line. The Belgian squad, well, they clearly had a plan and executed it. Ollie Jones, though, what a ride by Jones. 10 points clear. He and Pucker attacking on the last lap. And remember, of course, this last stage in the semi-finals is the last stage of the finals when we go to Abu Dhabi.
Well, I think Jones and Pucker today just went, that's it. We are going all out and we are going to show you what we've got. And that's exactly what they did today. Very smart, though. They sat back on one of those laps in that final stage because they then went all in for those double points on the last lap. Van Elst, Bjorn Andresen, the Danish rider, the current reigning defending champion, qualifying comfortably in 4th place, putting in a phenomenal performance.
Well, we can see our race winner here. This is Ollie Jones. Congratulations to Ollie. A race win by 10 points. That's mission accomplished, job done. And I hate to say it, he doesn't look like he's broken into a sweat.
I think he did.
I hope he did, but I'm sure he has done. And you look at the power there. I think that's I've done a fair amount of work there. Average watts, 413 watts across the racing, 5.8 watts per kilo. And you can see there, total time 1 hour and 7 minutes. An amazing effort by Jones. Great tactical awareness. A great tactical race by him. And he set a marker down. We've seen him aggressive on esports before. We've seen him make a brave move. He did that again.
Well, I think what we see from Jones is tactical aggression. You know, he's very, very smart and he knows when to put the power down. Hayden Pucker, now look, he has worked hard. You can tell. There's a lot of effort there on that face. Hayden, you must be so pleased and so proud to finish second today. You know, the rider from the USA, you know, a young rider, done an absolutely phenomenal job. And I don't think he can believe it. I really don't. Absolutely fantastic. You've booked your seat to that final, Hayden Pucker. Well done and well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved indeed. If you're going to go, do it in style and go out on the offensive. Great to see. And it's going to be a bit, it's kind of mixed emotions for Zach Nair. 21st place for Nair. So not making that cut, that top 20 cut. Will he be able to secure a wildcard spot? Remember, there are 4 wildcard spots available as a former rider. Now, Stefan van Elsenman in 3rd place. Well, he's just leant over the bike there, looking at the numbers. Great riding by him. We always say he's a smart rider, and he often goes under the radar in amongst people who are maybe more aggressive or flamboyant. But I have to say, really impressive yet again by Stefan van Elsen. And congratulations him in 3rd place and the finals.
I think he's going to be one to watch in the finals. I really, really do. He has been riding phenomenally over the last few months. And, well, what can I say? But October, it is going to be amazing in both the men's and the women's final.
So please do have a watch back if you haven't watched the women's race and you've just joined us for the men's. Don't forget all of the race action in the semi-finals coming out on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel and on Twitch TV. Do jump on board there. Don't forget, of course, the finals are coming up in the end of October. They are live. They are in person. The riders will be there. And I can't wait to watch what happens in that racing. It's been an amazing story so far, all the way through from when the World Championships was awarded to MyWhoosh right to the moment we are at now. It's been an absolute pleasure being involved in that story for the last 3+ years. And I can't even remember how long it seems like yesterday. The development is amazing. The racing is amazing. Our riders are amazing. A massive thank you to everybody behind the scenes who made it happen. Thank you for watching. A massive thank you. Emma, you must have some take-homes from the racing here today.
Well, my biggest take-home is the final is going to be so tactical. And you have got to get your tactics right and you have got to execute your plan because it is going to be so tight at the top.
It is indeed. So make sure you join us for that. You can catch up with myself, Matt Payne, on social media. It's at Matt Fixer Payne. You can catch up with Emma at biking_. Emma, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from riders, from viewers, from spectators. Thank you, everybody who's been in touch so far on the journey. From Emma and myself, Stay safe. Enjoy your riding. We hope to see you on MyWhoosh out and riding soon. But for both of us,
Goodbye.
goodbye.